Thank you for joining us today. My name is Gail Watson, President and CEO of Women Speakers Association, the go-to place for innovative leaders, change agents, and women with a message to connect, collaborate, and grow her visibility worldwide in order to fulfill her mission. And as part of helping her do this, we are excited to introduce you to Voices of the 21st Century, a book featuring a collection of female voices rising up to educate, guide, and inspire. And here with us today is our featured author, Susan Thomas. Welcome to the show, Susan.
Thank you for having me, Gail. I really appreciate it.
It's awesome to have you. So the subtitle of this book is A Bold, Brave, Brilliant Woman Who Shares a Powerful Story. And you do just that. What I love about the story that you share is you're really challenging the status quo out there. And you're sharing, opening up your personal life and sharing about a family member. So what I'd love is if you could dive in and give us some insight to your story and also why you felt it was really important to have this represented in as a voice in the 21st century.
Yeah. Well, the main thing is I guess just to start right off with it, my grandson, who's now 10 years old, he came out to us when he was actually old enough to talk. He was 3.5 years old. And from the moment he could speak, he was very clear. He was a boy. He was born physically as a girl. And we didn't honestly embrace it as well. As when I look back, I feel a little bad, but as a grandparent, you really want to make sure you're doing the right thing for your family. Kids can have, be one thing today and another thing tomorrow, but this was beyond just anything because it's who he is. And we support him as a male. He goes stealth in school. And we've had quite a journey with our family when he came out and then embracing it, and then how the school system has really been an advocate for us and has helped us to respect his privacy. And, he goes about his life as a little boy, and he's 10 years old. And he recently just started his puberty blockers because his body was starting to change naturally so that, we can avoid surgeries for him. And the nice thing about those kind of things is that you can stop it at any time if he, for any reason, wanted to go back to his sex of birth, but from he's diagnosed with gender dysphoria, and we've gone through a lot of professional help with BC Children's and the ministry in different places. So we find that, with that diagnosis, it confirms that he is who he is as well. And so when my daughter and I first kind of found out about it, the thing that really stuck with us was that, would you rather have your female daughter die to suicide because she wasn't supported, or would you like to have a happy, healthy transgender boy? So for us, we know that he is true to who he is, and we're supporting him to share his story as he's becoming, older to do that outside the family. But we've been very blessed because everybody in our family and our friends and everybody has embraced it. We haven't really had much negative, and that to me is huge because we're kind of like that mother bear. You want to kind of protect them from everything, because what, or at least when I grew up, what if somebody came out as transgender, they were ostracized, publicly shamed, and it was just actually very horrible. But I hadn't really met or connected with anybody transgender prior to my grandson coming out. So it was a lot of research, a lot of learning curve, and we're even currently working with the school district to change a few things that will affect it around all the schools in BC because they're all part of the same district. And there's just a couple flaws in the system, little gaps. And so I'm excited about that. And I've been working with our local MP as well on that. And another MP that was previously a RCM police officer that was retired, and he even said, this is crazy. You know what I mean? I can't understand why these gaps are here. So it's nice to see now that people are really becoming more accepting. But I just feel like I have to have his back. I can't not support him for who he is. Yeah. So
I know right now there's people listening and watching and cheering you on, going right on. Takes the grandma to fill in the gaps. That's the way to go.
Yeah, well, I just figure if he's 10 now, and in the next 10 years, if I can help make change to the system, so by the time he gets to legal age, he may never have to come out as being transgender, because he passes and uses a boy's bathroom, and everybody just knows him as a little boy. So I find it pretty amazing, the support we've been getting.
This is just an excellent demonstration. I'm just fast forwarding to his life as an adult, and understanding some of the challenges going on right now in our today's society. We see the bathrooms changing over restaurants, right? Those kind of things. But actually, you bring up an extraordinary point, and one to really think about is by supporting this journey so early on, like from his elementary years. You're right. It can almost probably eliminate all those challenges.
Well, that's what I'm hoping, because a lot of the things, there's a lot of stereotypes out there that, being transgender is a mental illness, but they took that off the table, like I think it was in the 1970s or something, right? So it doesn't fall under that category because it's not a mental illness, right? So, it's just a lot of, I just find the education side is good, because, all I can do is share our story and to say what, as a family, we've had to do to embrace, and how our life is impacted by it every day. We're always concerned about his safety, about who knows because of his age, and, things like that, until he's old enough to want to actually come out in school, which I think that day will come, but, he's going into grade 5 next year. So he's starting to get his voice, right? So, but he has come out to some rallies and holding a sign, and actually it was in the paper locally too, which was kind of interesting. And it went on all the local papers, because they're all connected by the same company. So, but, unfortunately you get some bad, people that don't leave a positive, that they're a little biased and don't understand, gender dysphoria and things like that. So I just feel like he's not old enough to talk for himself. So I feel like it can't go unaddressed, right? You have to stand up for what's right.
It sounds like he's an old soul.
Yes, he is.
He's quite mature for his age.
Yeah.
And so how has he reflected back to you, your support? Because this must just mean the absolute world to him.
Well, our whole family supports us, and my daughter and 2 grandkids actually moved in with us about 4 years ago. And so, for us, it's just, we've accepted him, we've supported him, and, we're whatever kind of comes our way, then we deal with it at that time, because when he joins, groups, or he's doing karate or something, we just sign him up as a boy, and nobody knows the difference. You know what I mean? Because you really shouldn't have to say, hi, my name's Susan Thomas, I'm a female heterosexual, right? It should just be, hi, my name's Susan, So there's a lot of, so we're just trying to help him to maneuver, and, who is safe to share with, and until he gets a bit older, right? So I don't know, it's just something that's been truly, close to my heart, because he is my grandson. And, I just feel like I could not support my family, if that makes sense. You're either with me or you're without me, kind of thing. But, but I'm lucky I didn't have to kind of put boundaries around family to say, hey, if you're not going to accept him, then I'm sorry. We're obviously not, when you have to, but luckily I haven't had to, cut any relationships out or anything.
So how is this, I can hear your passion, and I get your strength. Absolutely. I love this relationship with your grandson. Oh my goodness. This is fantastic. But what else are you doing with this? Is it, you strictly 100% advocating for him, or have you expanded into other areas and just becoming a true voice to help others?
Well, last year, I think I spoke to a couple different groups, right? Because it's not a, because being transgender is only like, I think it's 1% of the population, so it's not that, globally, it's not a huge issue, right? But it's becoming more in the public now, with things like that with SOGI. I don't know if you're familiar with that. That's SOGI is sexual orientation, SOGI, gender identification, I think it is. And that's something that they have a program in the school districts for that, to teach inclusion and, different family dynamics, because it's not all mom and dad and 2 kids, right? So there's so many, I mean, we're a 3-generation house ourselves, right? And, dad's not in the picture. So, there's a lot of changes, just in society, right? And just learning to accept. And when the kids learn at a younger age, like most of the kids that find out, they're like, I don't care, you're still my friend. So, and that's really the way it should be, right?
So where do you want to take this message? I mean, it just seems like such a strong, powerful message, and a much needed one.
Yeah, it's trying to find opportunities, but I did have last year, there was an opportunity with SFU, and some girls that were running for a school district, or school trustee in Surrey. And so they invited me to speak. And so SFU had their portion about the LGBT community and all that stuff. And then I was a speaker, talking about our experience and how it affects the family. And then, this is a real issue, when you have somebody in your family that's, LGBTQ.
Amazing. And I'm grateful that you've just, opened the doors into your personal world. And
Yeah.
Earlier, it would have been very, very easy to keep everybody away, in protection for your grandson.
Yeah. And I think one of the reasons that, like, writing this chapter for me, it's like, how do you get your life down to 1,000 words, right? It's very challenging, right? But I just feel like, living my life up to today, that I've had a lot of things in my life that's, molded me, not always good experiences and things like that. But I find that it was something I think you said to me once, Gail, it's like, behind the curtain, everybody just sees this facade of, a successful person, and hey, they're doing this, they're doing that in the community or whatever it is. But when it comes behind, into your personal life, it's not always perfect, and I find that that's the thing. I think if we can learn to be vulnerable, then I think we can actually invoke change, and also help to inspire other people to stand up for what they believe is right, or make those changes, in their life that they want to make,
Okay. You know what? I really want to put it out there right now to anyone listening. Anyone listening, you're hearing the powerful words that Susan is sharing with us. A very personal story, a story that touches many people's lives. And if you have those, maybe it's you who has those connections, or somebody that can get this message into the right places, into our school system. Wow, what a difference we could make that this story could make in the lives of kids growing up, so they don't have to experience the bullying, so they don't have to experience being isolated, so that they can live a normal life just like
any other kid. Yeah.
Like any other kid. And your point to say, just to be able to introduce yourself as, hi, I am Susan. I don't have to give off my sexual orientation or anything, right? So it's, wouldn't that be a beautiful place? You are definitely, truly taking one step in the right direction of healing these wounds that we have in our society right now. I just want to really applaud you for that, and really take pause to notice what you are doing. This is change.
Yeah, it's slow and steady, but slow and steady wins the race, right? So it's just when there's opportunities that come up, when people are opposing SOGI, or something like that, then of course, we're going to go and say, no, it's a good program, you know, and it's here for a reason. And, you know, we all need to support and embrace diversity and change. And, you know, I'd like to see where we're at, you know, in the next, 20 years or so, you know what I mean? I really think that this will be a thing of the past, but it is a very much of a social issue right now. And there's a lot of, I think they say it's the next human rights fight, for advocacy and things like that. But to me, it's, when you have people that are opposing it, and because they have a loud voice, doesn't mean they're right. You know what I mean? So it's the quiet voices like myself and other people that, will come and support, what we believe is to be true, which is everybody has the right to live. And, we all should be respected as a human being, right? So, and it's, to me, live and let live, because, somebody else's, whatever choices they're making in their life doesn't mean that I have to do anything about it. It's their life, and they're not imposing it on me, is what I'm trying to say, right? So just live and let live, right?
Oh, well, Susan, those words are very personal to me. My father used to always say those words. That was his motto, live and let live, as well.
Yeah.
As a person who went through World War, the Great Depression, immigration, I mean, wow, just to live and let live, people.
Yeah, like people choose to plant their flag on some things that are really, I don't know. I just feel like, they must not have a lot to do in their life if they're just constantly being negative, right? But I don't know. I just want to stand up for what's right. And, if my grandson wasn't a transgender young man, it has to be something that means something to you, yourself, and why you do it. And I'm a little bit different, because most people that share their stories are people that are LGBTQ. I'm not, I've been married for 39 years, and but it doesn't mean that, I can have a voice too. I can say how it impacts our family, or, what changes need to be done to help support people that are, considered a minority. But in the Charter of Rights, they just added transgender to the Human Rights Code last year. So really, it's discrimination if people don't accept a person that's transgender or fires them. So it's nice that the Constitution has evolved and changed to incorporate transgender people. So I was really happy about that. I think it's called C-16 is the bill. Yeah.
What was that bill again?
C-16.
C-16. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm thinking right now you have this amazing story that I think everybody should read, and also perhaps even pass along. So if there's someone that to our audience right now, if there's somebody that who's struggling, if you know that there's families that also want to create more change and need support to know, really to know you're not alone. This would be a sensational gift. So Susan, how can we get this book directly from you? Because I'm thinking, get this book directly from you, and to even have a personal message inside that book for sure, would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be great. And anybody can get it on my website, my premiercoaching.ca. So Premier, Premier coaching. And and if anybody just even needs help or want a phone call, you can call me anytime. I don't mind, because I feel that, it's strength in numbers. And a lot of times when we first, our family was first doing the research and trying to figure out what support we had and all that sort of stuff, it was really hard to find that information. So a lot of times people just need that direction, where do I go? And I have a lot of resources on that anyway, in British Columbia, more so, not opposed to, say, in the States. But I could probably direct you, to find out a local association or something that if you need help.
Sensational. Okay. You are just jam-packed with wise words. So please leave us with your final words of wisdom.
Final words of wisdom. I believe, well, at least around gender and things like that, it's not always a choice. It's who you are. And sometimes you're born into a different body compared to what you're and there's a lot of studies now showing brain scans and things showing that there is a difference in transgender people as well. So, you know, I just think people need to be more accepting. I think we need to have more tolerance. And I think the hate is what I find very challenging, because sometimes people come at it more from a like a biblical standpoint and saying this is the way it is, and there's no room for discussion. So, you know, people need to evolve, and people need to really do their research and not just say what they think, because a lot of times things have evolved and changed over the years. So I find that if somebody doesn't speak the truth, that's when I feel like I can jump in and say, actually, no, that's not true. So, you know, that's kind of how I approach it. I don't look for fights or anything, but I just feel like I have to defend our family. So I'm just the gatekeeper, I guess.
And what a gatekeeper you are. Your voice is truly making a difference. And you know, on the cover of this book is a diamond.
Mm.
And it is you. You are bold. You are brilliant. You are making a difference. And I want to really thank you personally for opening up your personal world and being vulnerable and sharing this message. You didn't have to. It's not attached to business. This is strictly attached to making change.
Yeah.
And I honor the relationship between you and your grandson. Oh, how beautiful! Such closeness, such connection, and you're definitely a pillar, I'm sure, in his life, and vice versa.
He's a good kid. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, to people listening today, I hope you've enjoyed today's show and appreciate the strength and courage that Susan has shared with us today and opening up. And I just see her right now, like, whack, you know, with a machete in her hand, whacking through fields of grass, blazing that new trail for us, and for others to follow in to make it easier for the transgender to be recognized, to be seen, to be heard as this is who I am.
And I'm just a human being. Yeah.
I'm a human being too, so I love it. I love you. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today, and we invite you back again to hear from another amazing woman share her story. Thanks for joining in. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much.